An ancient sealed jar made electricity, and if that sounds impossible, watch the needle jump. The jar looks ordinary, clay baked in the heat of Mesopotamia, no switches, no wires, no gears, yet inside a quiet chemistry waits to wake. A copper tube, an iron rod, a stopper of black bitumen. Add sour liquid and a whisper of voltage stirs. This matters because it challenges a timeline everyone takes for granted. Electric power belongs to the modern age. The ancient world belongs to torches and bronze, but the jar refuses to keep that boundary. It suggests a small, contained spark, hidden in a sealed cell more than 2,000 years old. Picture a workshop in the Parthian period or the early centuries around Baghdad. Pottery jars cure in the sun, copper is hammered into thin sheets, iron is sharpened, bitumen, sticky and resilient, is warmed until it softens and seals. Someone pushes an iron rod through bitumen and into a copper cylinder. The pieces never touch. Then a sour liquid is poured, wine gone off, vinegar, lemon-like juice. Suddenly the jar is not just a container. It is a boundary between metals and acid. The copper is one pole, the iron another. The bitumen keeps them apart. The liquid becomes a bridge for ions. It is a small thing, a pocket of chosen materials, and it builds a potential that can be measured. Years later, archaeologists sift through a cache near Baghdad and pull out jars with copper sleeves and iron rods. They look like storage, like ritual. They look like kitchen refuse from a forgotten century. What they do not look like is power. The skeptics point to gaps. No written instructions, no wires preserved, no obvious devices to use the charge. The jars could be containers for scrolls or perfumes or medicines. But then the tests begin. A replica is built, a copper tube is rolled, an iron rod is filed, bitumen is melted and pressed, it seals tight and insulates. The acid goes in. A meter connects by thin leads. The needle twitches. Half a volt, sometimes more. Join several, the numbers climb. A faint sting can be felt on the tongue. A small coin can be coaxed with a veil of copper. Now the argument shifts from belief to observation. It does not claim factories of power. It shows a quiet moment, measurable, repeatable. The tiniest seal of bitumen is the pivot. Without it, the iron and copper would meet and cancel. The liquid would flood the contact. The corrosion would short the cell. With it, the metals remain isolated, and the acid does its slow work. The stopper is not just glue, it is the gate that keeps the charge alive. This seal transforms the jar into a primitive battery, a galvanic cell held in clay that can ride out evaporation and contamination. Voltage is not a trick of the open air. It grows inside a closed world where copper and iron never touch, where only ions cross and return. The scene narrows to the surface of the iron. It surrenders electrons into the acid. The copper welcomes them back through the lead, if a path is offered. The liquid itself is the messenger. The bitumen makes sure the message does not get confused. That small architecture is the entire drama. People search for grand machines in antiquity and overlook the small dynamics, the temple of chemistry in a jar. What would that charge be for? One idea lingers, controversial and persistent. Electroplating, thin films of metal laid on objects to dazzle and protect. Some artifacts show a delicate sheen that sparks debate. Another idea is ritual shock, a tingle delivered during healing or performance. The jar could be sealed and slipped into cloth, two wires touched to skin, a sensation produced, or the jar could be used for experiments and curiosity, a secret demonstration for a royal court. The records are silent, the voltage is not. The deeper the tests go, the more the stopper returns as the hero. Air dries liquids, dust clogs, metal corrodes. The bitumen stopper isolates the copper cylinder and the iron rod from each other and from the chaos outside. It is robust, water-resistant, and ancient craftsmen knew it well. They used bitumen to seal boats, to waterproof baskets, to glue fittings. In this jar, bitumen does something more. It turns a bottle into a circuit that only opens to ions. The design is almost accidental and strikingly deliberate at the same time. That friction is where the mystery grows. Pull back and look at the times. Mesopotamia holds artisan workshops. Spice merchants cask vinegars. Alchemists experiment with acids from grapes, dates, and sour fruits. Vinegar and wine are not exotic. Copper and iron are common. Bitumen is everywhere. The ingredients for voltage are present, waiting for a combination. The jar shows the combination, and it is sealed so the reaction can persist. That persistence is the hidden twist. Even with evaporation, even with contamination, the closed system keeps the electrolyte pressed against the metals without letting them touch. Many replicas report a steady potential over hours, sometimes days, link several jars, and the range grows. The project transforms from a curious artifact to a proof of concept. It does not light lamps, it pushes a needle, it shivers through damp skin, it can plate a tiny surface if coaxed carefully. The question moves from could it to did they. Evidence trawls through museums, through storage rooms where jars sleep wrapped in cloth. Some show traces of acidic residues, some show tar burned into stoppers, others are ambiguous. A few lack iron, a few lack copper. The set is inconsistent and human. The jars were not mass-produced for one purpose. They served varied roles in daily life and ritual. In that variability sits another revelation. A sealed jar that generates power could exist by design or by accident. A perfumer could find a sting on the tongue while handling a stoppered jar. An artisan could notice a coin changed after dipping near the copper. A healer could report a tingling effect during a ceremony. Small signals could accumulate into craft know-how without written theory. A tradition could grow that says a jar with the right parts does something strange. That something is electricity, born in silence inside bitumen. Skeptics still voice caution. Many claims of ancient electroplated jewelry have been reinterpreted as chemical gilding or skillful polishing. Wire connections are absent in most finds. The jar might have been an apothecary vessel or a scroll holder, yet the repeatable voltage keeps the door open. The jar can be made to work. The seal matters. The separation of copper and iron inside an airtight bitumen cap invites an acidic electrolyte to play mediator. It is a compact solution that any modern student can test. The strange part is how ordinary it looks. No special shape, no marks that shout science, just three materials that align in a charged geometry. The final question turns not on physics, but on intention. Did a craftsperson in ancient Mesopotamia look down into a sealed jar as a meter would today, and know that a new kind of power lived there? Or did the knowledge travel by sensation and wonder, a jolt on the tongue and a shimmer on metal whispering a secret they chose to keep?